thing that Barnabas is doing because of our Alice. I wish she was here today, but she has seen some of the pictures and she'll get a whole thing on it. But these kids were so thrilled with all these dresses. And then our other is our Betty Hamilton, who was also on a trip and not here today, but she's also seen a lot of the pictures. This year, with Project Pearl, she has gotten so many ladies involved that last year we could give a child a sweater or a scarf or a hat. They're given in Pingani, and they're given to the new classes coming in because those children have nothing. It's their first time in school. This year she had so many ladies crocheting and knitting that the children all got at least 2 items, and as you can see in this classroom, Tammy said they visited 5 to 6 classrooms. All children got at least 2 items, and many got 3 items. You can see they've got new sweaters on, new hats on, and new scarves on. And this is their winter there. We were a little warm, but they are bundled up there. Now, moving on to, this is Joska. And I want you to see the difference that it makes in the lives of these children. You've seen the pictures of the slums. When you get to Joska and you go out there the first time, you can't believe the openness and the clean air that these children can live in, and no raw sewage and no trash. They actually have bathrooms out here. And this is the soccer field where those buses are. Those are our buses, and we're a large team this year, so we had to have our buses. But over in here and to the left are the classrooms and the dorms where most of the children live. And then across that big lot is this dorm that Eastside built. Oh. And someday you can see it's prepared to go higher, just like they always do their buildings that way, ready for the next flooring. And last year when we were there, we had our medical and our dental and all that in here because after our team left last March, the city changed their plumbing codes. So the kids had to move back out. The kids are now back in there, and it's the 7th and 8th graders. There are over 600 children out at Joska, and if you move on, they're now back in there. And you can't really tell here, but the beds are 3 tiers high. This is taken more from the 2nd level, but there's another one underneath. And there's boys' dorms and there's girls' dorms. And the 7th and 8th graders are in these. However, there are dorms in the others. But in the others, those are 10 buildings that Keith and Kathy and all of them put up the year that all the riots were there and we couldn't go build. But this is a stucco building and all this. Oscar could tell you a lot more about it. But it's more insulated and so on. And now, since we were there a year ago, they now have their own greenhouses and they're growing corn and potatoes and some fruits and carrots and tomatoes. They're growing their own vegetables and getting healthier. Wow. And so that is the difference that you're making Eastside, and on behalf of Kenya, I think.
I will be over right after.
And like Bunny mentioned, and I want to bring up, the main focus of all these ministries is to share the good news of Jesus Christ. And I don't care if it was medical, construction team, hospice team, all of us were leading people to Christ in all these different ministries that we were doing, and that was a wonderful thing about it. I was in the Bring the Light team, and this verse kind of it's what our team was all about. And it says, "My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me, though through their message, that all of them may be one, just as you are one in me and I in you." And that's what the Lord did with our Bring the Light teams. He had us so in unity with Him and each other that it was totally amazing how well we shared the gospel with these people. And what Bring the Light is about, well, this is where I was at up in Mathapi North, is most of the homes, even if they do have electricity, have no windows, and we bring this fiberglass clear panel and we cut it into the roof, so it then takes the home from total darkness to just like turning a light switch on. And here's a view of the top of those roofs. You can see they're just thrown together however they can do it, and then we cut that panel in it. And you know, that's the physical gift, but that's not the main reason why we do it. That's, to me, just the wedge in the door, and that's the beauty of what happened with Bring a Light. This was my team. Fernando was one of the guys that was up speaking about his trip on main service a while ago. Myself, Josh, Savannah, these are two high schoolers. There was, what was her name? Jane. Jane's a social worker that works for the Hope Centers. She was our lead. These two people, which is Kelly and Eveline, were members of the church in that area. So they would go into the homes with us. And so when we would be a part of leading people to Christ, then these two members would hook them up with the church in that area and get them planted in right away. So that was the purpose of what Bring the Light is about. And we visited 25 homes in the short time we were there. We put in 26 light panels. And the one story I want to leave you with that just is a great example of what the Lord did was on our second day of ministry. It was in the morning. We went to our first house, the whole team of us. This was pretty typical of the area we were going into. And got in the home of a lady, and I think she had one or two of her children there. And we then, Jane told us that she was a believer, but she was kind of, Jane kind of chastised her because she hadn't been sharing her faith with others, and she felt bad about that. So then Josh, who I had up that morning, then went in and said, well, let me share the EvangeCube with you, to show you how you can share your faith with your neighbors. So he shared the EvangeCube with her, and then Savannah, who I didn't even think of this just shows you how the Lord puts all the pieces together, then said, well, here, we have an extra EvangeCube, let's give this one to you. Then Jane, our head leader, said, well, okay, fine, you're going to share your faith with Fernando over here as someone that doesn't know Christ. So after Joss had shown her how we did it, then this lady then shared back with us. And then one of the other gals piped up, well, you should come with us to the next house. And, you know, I thought that was good. And we took down our prayer requests, whatnot. I didn't think she would. So we then left her home, went over to this next lady's home that we came in with a couple kids, and settled down. And Jane starts talking to her in Swahili, finds out she's not a believer, and then turns around and says, I want whatever her name was to share with you about Jesus Christ, and here's this lady from the home we would just come out of with us. And I was like, I thought, whoa, she came. So she proceeded to share the EvangeCube with her as best she could. She did phenomenally well. Jane didn't ask me to give her more information, which I did. And after I gave her more information, brought her to the point of decision, asked her if she'd like to accept Jesus Christ as her Lord and Savior, she said yes. And then stopped, started talking to Jane, and me and my team's kind of looking, wondering what's on for about 3 to 5 minutes. It was a long time. And we're like, well, what's this about? So she finally stops. Jane looks at us, she goes, she just wanted to let you guys know why she's accepting Jesus Christ as her Savior. Her husband, she told us that her husband had a dream months ago that this house was going to be cursed and would never prosper. And at that point, he then started praying to the God of his understanding to send somebody to take this curse off of their house so it could be taken away. And then she then told us that she now knows that we came here this day to tell her that Jesus Christ is the answer to that. He's the person that's going to take the curse off of their home and that they would prosper. And then at that point, I asked Jane to lead her in a prayer to accept Jesus Christ. Fernando then encouraged her in Jeremiah 29, 11 and 11 and 12, about how the Lord, is here to prosper you. And that was just one of the neat experiences we had, seeing how the Lord connected that.